In this video, we will be paying tribute to Philadelphia legend, Hank Gathers. Hank Gathers was an American college basketball player for the Loyola Marymount Lions in the West Coast Conference. He was born on February 11, 1967 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania as Eric Wilson Gathers Jr. As a junior in 1989, he became the second player in NCAA division history to lead the nation in scoring and rebounding in the same season. Gathers was a consensus second-team All-American as a senior in 1990. He was on his way to become a superstar until his unexpected death in 1990. His basketball player number jersey 44 was retired by the Lions, who also placed a statue of him in his honor outside their home in the arena of the Gerstein Pavilion. In this video, we are sharing some of the highlights of news reports, interviews, the death, the resting place, and of course the story of Mr. Hank Gathers. Please stay tuned. Please note, some of the audio of these archives are not the best. In this video, we will show the footage of Mr. Brian Gumbel, Bo Kimball, and Hank Gathers.
Okay, Al, thank you. Gasoline on fire is the way basketball coach Paul Westhead describes his team's high-octane offense. His Loyola Marymount University Lions are averaging almost 125 points a game this season. That's 12 points more than the NCAA record they set just last year. Hottest among the fire starters are Bo Kimball, who's leading the nation in scoring, and teammate Hank Gathers, who's ranked 5th this season after winning the scoring title just a year ago. Together, they're our Sportsman of the Week. Kimball, a 6'5" swingman, is averaging more than 35 points per game, a lot of them from long range. Gathers is averaging just under 29 points a game. At 6'7", he does most of his best work from in close. And close is what these two have been since their high school days in Philadelphia. They are longtime teammates with skills that have always complemented the other's game. Like here, with Gathers rebounding, sending the outlet pass to Kimball for the layup. Hank Gathers and Bo Kimball have not only put Loyola in the national polls, they've helped make the Lions the most entertaining team in the college game of the day. Gentlemen, good morning. Congratulations. Is it true, now you guys are both from Philadelphia, both went to Dobbins Tech. Is it true that after the first scrimmage at Dobbins Tech, you had a fight?
Yeah, that's true. We had to get to know each other, and we thought that the physical thing would be the best way.
Can I ask who won?
Go ahead.
I won.
Go ahead.
Did you really?
Yeah, I'll let Bo.
Oh, okay.
No,
Go ahead.
It was just because of the competitiveness in practice. We just wouldn't give each other the edge, and we were competing for a spot, and that's why we're good competitors today.
You're Philly kids. The East is known for keeping its own. Would you come west?
Well, David Spencer was the assistant coach at USC, and he did such a terrific job in recruiting us. And he told us that we would play early in our career as freshmen. And I started as a freshman, and Hank started all but 6 games. So, you know, the confidence that we can play right away was
what got you here. And then, of course, USC changed coaches. You wind up at Loyola Marymount, and the rest, as they say, is history. Your offense, I called it gasoline on fire, as Westhead did. It's really not as disorganized as it looks, is it?
Oh, no, it's very structured. We run to a designated spot on the floor every time down. And people who look at basketball and don't know too much won't notice it, but people who are really clued in will pick it up that we're running to the same spot every time down the floor.
Bola, as we show some highlights of you, talk to me a little bit about what you learned. I mean, I know you had some physical problems over the past 2 years where you sat. You said you learned a lot from sitting. What did you learn?
Well, I just learned how to use the type of offense that we were playing in to the best of my abilities, and to be able to penetrate and make shots easier for my teammates, and to also, because most teams play as man-to-man, and I'm a good offensive player, I'm able to just display all my skills and make my teammates look better. So I just learned a lot sitting on the side, and it's showing this year.
Hank, people like to say that you are a scorer, not a shooter. Do you buy that?
Oh, most definitely. I think that I have the mentality to be a scorer, and I have some skills that, you know, gives me the ability to go in there and score points in the paint. And there's a lot of defenders in there, but I just concentrate on getting the ball in the hole. It's a big difference between being a scorer and a shooter. Bo is a scorer and a shooter. He can fill it up from the outside. I don't have those kind of skills. I'm working on them, so I'm just going to try to concentrate on putting the ball in the hole any way I can.
Are you conscious of the fact that it's 6'7", you may be odd-sized for the NBA?
Oh, yeah, that's been on my mind lately, but that doesn't bother me because I have a heart the size of a lion, any lion, and I'm just going to go in there and try to be competitive and score points any way they come.
And your teammate there is a definite #1 pick. No doubt about it. Maybe even a lottery pick.
I would
top 7.
take him on my team.
All right, now, and I gave you guys the choice earlier because you both want to wind up doing this for a living. I already warned Deborah. If you had the choice upon graduation, either going to the NBA or taking a job with the network, which gets the nod?
I'll take going to the league.
Yeah, we got to play one season and then
make that big money real quick,
That's
right?
right, yeah.
That's right, because we starve on this end. Guys, take care of yourself. Good luck to you.
Thanks.
Thanks. Stay well.
Brad.
All right, Bo, take care of yourself. We're going to come back in just a moment. There's more ahead from Burbank and New York right after this.
In December, Gather's outlook on life suddenly changed. He collapsed on the court, his first serious health problem. But that night, Hank walked off the floor. Doctors pronounced him fit to return after he'd missed 2 games. As his dosage of medication was slowly reduced, Gathers became less sluggish. He looked like the Hank of old until the collapse last night. In a conversation 5 weeks ago, he was looking forward to a full, normal life.
Now things have seemed to fall in place for me, and I know exactly what happened to me, picture perfect, and I hope it never happens again. I don't think it will.
Special hour edition tonight. We sat in this chair last night at this time, shocked by the death of Hank Gathers, Loyola Marymount. 24 hours later, pretty much still the same feeling.
It's similar when Pete Maravich died. You just don't know where to turn to get answers, and we will try to come up with answers tonight. It will be at least a week before we know exactly what caused the sudden death of Hank Gathers. Loyola Marymount officials today declined to answer questions concerning Hank Gathers' medical history. Loyola Marymount was supposed to play on ESPN later tonight, but the West Coast Conference canceled the rest of their tournament following Gather's death. Today, as coach, teammates, and friends look back with fond memories of a man who was not only a great player, but a great friend. Chris Myers was there.
Basketball was good to Hank Gathers. Life was unfair. The day after his tragic death, the court was empty, the campus saddened, the flag at half-mast. Loyola's alumni gym looked more like a chapel.
This is a great tragedy. There's no explanation for it that I know of. Our whole campus is grieving.
Gathers' teammates, after witnessing his last basket and collapse Sunday night, struggled with the reality of losing their leader.
Before the game in the locker room, Hank said, "I feel as strong as ever." And we just don't understand how a man that strong could leave us so quickly.
I'm almost 100% certain that if he had 10 more seconds, this is the way that he would want to leave us on the basketball court.
He was our guy as a player and as a person. He was the leader of our team. He was the fiber of what we are.
Unmarried and just 3 weeks into his 23rd birthday, Gathers was just getting back to top form on the floor after a December fainting spell, which was related to an irregular heartbeat. After missing 2 games, cardiologist Vernon Hattori put Gathers on medication and cleared him to play. Dr. Hattori met with Gathers' family Monday, but was unavailable for comment. Many medical questions remain. Lions head coach Paul Westhead said he saw no danger in Gathers continuing to play. And Loyola will continue to play when the NCAA tournament starts because they say Gathers would have wanted it that way. His love for the game was great, and so was his love for children.
Hank represents the little kid in all of us. Because to Hank Gathers, basketball was play. And we all want to play.
Tuesday, a memorial mass for Gathers will be held here on the Loyola campus, a campus filled with people that a year ago influenced his decision to stay in school and earn a degree rather than turn pro. Gathers will be missed by all. He'll be remembered for his greatness, his enthusiasm, and his zest for life.
I know he's listening. I just love him so much. And I'm gonna miss you, Hank.
You know, the irony of all of this is prior to their game, Hank Gathers went out and ran the track. He had so much energy. He's the strongest guy on the team. He often bragged that he was the strongest guy in college basketball. He liked to skip rope before basketball games. So having all of this energy, I think that's where people have a problem understanding his death. How could it happen to somebody so healthy?
A problem understanding it in a lot of ways. I think as we talked last night here, I think we're reminded how fragile life is, even to those that appear the most strong, and sometimes also how unfair at times life is. So those of us that think that things are not going well, they're going real well. This was really, it's very difficult to comprehend on about 8 different levels. And you know, you didn't really have to know Hank Gathers to feel a huge loss today. You didn't even have to follow college basketball or even sports to feel the tragedy of seeing somebody who hadn't yet even realized his prime years being felled by a failing heart. Across the country from Los Angeles and Philadelphia, where Gathers grew up, the entire community felt the effects. It was even harder for some of his boyhood friends, several of whom play for LaSalle, who play the MAC finals a short while ago against Fordham tonight in Albany. Lionel Simmons, Doug Overton, Bobby Johnson all thought about not playing tonight, but then reconsidered, feeling the Gathers would have wanted them to play on. Moment of silence before tonight's MAC final, LaSalle against Fordham, as everybody in the arena remembered Hank Gathers. At the Palestra Atlantic 10 finals, Gathers' hometown, the same feeling. John Chaney last night.
Hank Gathers just epitomizes so much of what life's all about. This basketball game meant nothing. Kid who's a soldier for a lot of kids, champions a lot of causes. To hear that just devastated. How unfair is it?
I talked with some people involved in the Sun Belt final. Long way away, really. Most folks, no connection except through the sport of college basketball. And even they tonight said it was not quite the same. Very important game for that team, but I think all the way through this tournament, Dan, it won't quite be the same. He would want everybody to play basketball, but he'll always be remembered in some way as perhaps his tournament in some way.
Probably so. John Chaney, the Temple coach, he had recruited Hank Gathers out of Philadelphia, and I think that's why John Chaney feeling a little bit more of an emotional bond there. We will be back.
The athlete, so full of life, collapsed on the floor of Gersten Pavilion, was so shocking. Gathers' enthusiasm on the court had carried over to the rest of his life. The big man was really a little kid at heart. He simply loved to play. And he was a guy who could make people laugh. But the day after his death, there was only stunned silence on the Loyola Marymount campus. Here's Michael Cowman.
Loyola Marymount University is mourning the loss of a close friend. There is only shock and sorrow.
He was the leader of our team. He was the fiber of what we are. Whatever we were, it was Hank's team.
Words fail to describe the devastation felt in Loyola's Gersten Pavilion Sunday afternoon. Hank Gathers had been at the top of his game, in the prime of his life. Then, in an instant, he was gone.
Before the game, in the locker room, Hank said, "I feel as strong as ever." And we just don't understand how a man that strong could leave us so quickly.
Gathers had collapsed during a game last December 9th. He went through 3 weeks of tests before returning to the lineup. Doctors had detected a slight arrhythmia, an irregular heartbeat. Gathers was being treated with medication, the dosage of which had been reduced in recent weeks.
I guess his situation was if he's going to, there's not a certainty that if he didn't play, that this wouldn't have happened. So he was going to play doing, something that he really loved, and he went out the way he wanted to go out.
The cardiologist involved in Hank Gathers' treatment told us he'd rather not comment until he's had a chance to review the autopsy reports. The final results aren't scheduled to be released for several more days. For now, for those closest to Hank Gathers, all that's really secondary. In Philadelphia, where Gathers grew up and learned the game he loved, he'll never be forgotten.
Exuded life and lived it to the fullest and died slam dunking on everybody.
If we'd finished practice at 6 o'clock, I wouldn't leave the gym until 6:45 until the custodian turned the lights out because he wouldn't leave. He just wanted to work and work.
I always felt that he was going to be a great NBA player because of the way he competed. And he was a special, special athlete.
And nobody knows Gathers' constant drive for excellence better than his childhood friend and teammate for the past decade, Bo Kimball.
I know he's listening. I just love him so much. And I'm going to miss you, Hank.
Michael Cowman, CNN, Los Angeles.
The flags on the Loyola campus were flown at half-staff today, but classes did go on as scheduled. A memorial service will be held tomorrow at the Jesuit University Sacred Heart Chapel. At Dobbins Tech in Philadelphia, where Gathers and his teammate Bo Kimball went to high school, a moment of silence was also held. It was also held at the 76ers.
Thunderbolt. His teammates called him the bank man, as in Money in the Bank. ESPN's Chris Fowler looks back on a career that touched many, but has now left many wanting more.
His physique and his commanding presence gave off an air of invulnerability. Hank Gathers was a symbol of strength to those who knew him, and it was his strength of will that made him a basketball star. Nothing, not even hoops, came easily. He was born Eric Gathers and given the nickname Hank as a toddler. He grew up in the Rosen Projects in North Philadelphia, raised by his mother, Lucille. His father is a recovering alcoholic who was rarely around the house. A priest, Father Dave Hagen, became a surrogate parent to Hank.
Much more than a basketball player. Exuded life and lived it to the fullest and Died slam dunking on everybody. I mean, you know, in the best sense of that word.
The summer before he entered high school, Hank met Bo Kimball on a playground court. They became best friends, as close as brothers. They had been teammates ever since.
How would you think Hank would like to be remembered now for all he did?
Well, a guy who gave 100% on and off the court. A guy who wanted to be thought of as a very caring person, genuine, having all the qualities that, you know, people would look for in a very good basketball player. You know, and Hank had that. Took time out for little kids. Just all the little extra things that you don't have to do. Hank would do those things, and that made him the special person that he is.
Bo and Hank led Dobbins Tech to the Philadelphia City title, along with guard Doug Overton, now at LaSalle. LaSalle superstar Lionel Simmons was on the losing side in that City title game. Since then, he and Gathers had maintained a close friendship, despite living on opposite coasts. He heard the tragic news late in the Explorers game last night.
You know, he was definitely one of the hardest workers in the game. You know, he lived and dreamed basketball his entire life, and it's one of the things, you know, he'll be remembered with me for the rest of my life.
Gathers and Kimball went west together and played as freshmen at USC. A year later, they transferred to Loyola Marymount, and since then, the Lions have roared. Gathers blossomed to superstardom, leading the nation in scoring and rebounding last year, something only one other player had done. His game was based on sweat, on desire, on outworking opponents.
We called him Bankman because we went to him for everything. We went to him for rebounds, for points, for life.
Gathers was just months away from becoming a first-round NBA selection, from fulfilling the dream of providing his family financial security. At LMU, he always had time for well-wishers and for the media. He'd been preparing for a second career as a sportscaster, a goal shared by his best friend.
But there's two dynamite point guards here at Loyola Marymount University, and I'm talking about TNT, Tony Walker and Terrell Lowry.
But for those who were there in Los Angeles today to pay their last respects to the fallen All-American, it was a day that will never be forgotten. Chris Myers reports.
Time has passed. The deep-felt sorrow for Hank Gathers remains strong. On the same floor where he took his last breath, a multitude gathered for a mass in his honor. The university suspended all classes Tuesday. The memorial service was moved from the school's chapel to Gersten Pavilion to accommodate the thousands who came to pay their respects. People lined Loyola Boulevard. It was eerie. So many people, still so silent. His casket was carried in by his teammates into the Lions gym. A gym which holds 4,000 for basketball was filled by more than 5,000 mourners.
He was an impact player. He had impact on the court, on this university, on this city, on this country. Hank said the NBA team that drafts me will be very lucky. Maybe God needed a power forward in heaven.
His mother, brothers, and sister were joined by students from other schools, players from other leagues. His coach and best friend offered reflection.
For all of us to go on the task, for Hank, the decision would be simple and easy. Clear the floor. He would play today.
Hank Gathers, termed by those who knew him as a real player in life, led the nation in scoring, rebounding, and friends.
I know that Hank will want to hear one more cheer, one more clap from his fans, friends, the people who supported him. One last applause in his house.
I'm a talker. but I don't have much to say right now because I'm just so amazed. For weeks now, I have been wondering, what is this sculpture going to be like? What it's going to look like? Am I going to like it? It's going to be like Hank. For weeks, like every second of my life, I've been thinking about this sculpture. So getting here today and seeing that sculpture has really made an adjustment in my life. I'm so happy and amazed that he captured my son the way that he did. And all the people that worked with that sculpture, I'm just happy. I'm so excited, I'm so filled up right now. I don't really have much to say. I'm just happy and glad that it's done, that I can go back home and tell my family that it's wonderful and it looks like Hank. And he would be so proud because I am. And I know my family would be proud of that. I'm just happy that they thought enough to do it, you know, of Hank. He wasn't a selfish person. He was a good kid. And I think about him often because he was my baby. And I'm so glad that they did this sculpture of him. I'm proud of the people that had a part of it. And it's something I'll never forget. That's all I want to say.
Four, three, two, one.
Gavers' life was dramatized in a 1992 movie, Final Shot, the Hank Gavers story with Victor Love starring as Gavers. Gavers was part of the storyline in the ESPN film Guru of Go about Westhead, part of their 30 for 30 series. Transitioning now, here is Hank Gavers' family reunion, located at Hank Gavers Youth Access Center.
Everybody, it wouldn't be right if we didn't say a prayer. Like I said earlier, the family that prays together stays together, y'all.
You can also visit the center if you want to play tribute and look at the mural of Hank Gavers in this video, as you see. Arnold, but you know you are very close to his headstone. Just beyond the Arnold headstone, where the father and brother of former St. Joseph's player and current assistant Geoff Arnold are buried, easily visible from Hook Road across from the office, sits a small circular drive surrounding a giant bush on a grassy island. Just as you get to the end of the drive, you look just over the right, and there is the gravesite. Alright, here is the resting place of Hank Gathers. This is the same location that you see from this photo from the Philadelphia Inquirer of Hank Gathers' brother Derek and his son Aaron Crump at the burial site. May you rest in peace, Hank Gathers. May you rest in peace. Watching this video, we appreciate your time and this documentary. Please leave us a comment, share the video with your friends and family, and expect more videos. If there's any suggestion that you would like to have for us, please leave it down in the comments below. We'd love to hear your feedback. Enjoy Infinitely Productions.